I came to the practice of yoga probably unaware when I watched my mom at an early age practicing yoga. I didn't ever practice until after my third child came into the home. Some good friends saw that I probably needed a practice that would help sort of slow me down and ground me in the midst of parenting 3 young children. And so those friends guided me to a yoga class. And unlike running, which I've always done to manage stress, yoga seemed to open me and quiet me, especially at the level of my mind, my spirit, in a way that I hadn't experienced before. Prior to the physical practice of yoga, my prayer life was, I would call it more traditional. So I would read inspirational books, read the prayers of others, or have my own petitions before God. And so it was this practice that was physical that helped me find a stillness. And it's through the experience of going through these postures that are both working with the nervous system, both stimulating but also down-regulating and quieting, that has helped me realize that as I move through a physical practice and then I come to sit in the presence of God, that there is more space. In a way, those worries, those anxieties can be put aside, and that I'm more open to experience God's presence with a quiet mind. So we have these really beautiful images at Lent of people being formed from the dust, of God breathing into the dust, and the human being created. And what I've found in this practice of yoga, this attention to the breath, is both a way of coming into relationship with God through receiving this gift of the breath, but also learning how to let go of the breath. When I finished my teacher training, we were asked to start a special project and to take yoga to a community where we were familiar. And for me, it was a natural choice to choose to bring what I'd learned in yoga to my church. And we were invited after a few years of practicing in the basement to use the space here in the sanctuary. And I felt entrusted and honored to be able to move what we were doing downstairs up into this space of worship, because ultimately I felt like what this practice does is guide us to a place within us where we can encounter ourselves as God sees us. Particularly in the end part of the practice, when we're laying on our back in what we call shavasana, corpse pose, when the body has experienced the release of the postures, the quieting of the postures, and then we can just sink into that stillness and receive. And I feel that that experience in this holy space brings a richness and a depth to the practitioners who come here. At the beginning of our practice, we set an intention. And the intention has to do not just with how this practice will affect us, but how, working in this way of being in the moment, we can bring the gift of our presence into every situation we encounter. That it's not just about taking care of ourselves or having a better body, but it's really deeper than that. It's about, can we let go of that anxiety and let God work in us in a way where we're ready to serve.